Hey, what's up, man?
All right, buddy. Good to
I'm
see you,
doing
man.
good. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Awesome.
Hey, man. Thanks for taking the time to do this today, man. I really appreciate it, and man, looking forward to playing with you guys in a couple weeks out in Pittsburgh, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's shaping up pretty good. We're psyched about it.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be fun. So this is the first time you guys have taken quarantine off the boat, right? You guys just put on the cruise, right?
We did the cruise twice. We did Chris's birthday party twice at his house, and we did cru Creature Fest in Nashville. That was basically the first time the bands played together, all of us, because we've always had different configuration any other time we played.
Yeah, I got you, man. Give me a little bit of background on quarantine. I know you guys kind of formed during the pandemic, obviously, hence the name and everything else like that too. But yeah, man, kind of how did it all come about?
Well, obviously quarantine, everybody was doing the shared screen music videos and stuff. And early into that, I would say in March of 2020, Chris reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, you like 80s Kiss?" I'm like, "I celebrate all Kiss, yeah." And he's like, "Cool. Me and Kent Slusher from Luke Bryan and Joe McGinnis from the Classic 78 are doing a shared screen video. We're doing a couple of songs, and I think he'd be perfect. Being that you toured with Kiss and you got the cred." So I was like, "I'm in,
Mm.
sure." So we did No 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 and Heart of Chrome, which when he sent me those songs, those weren't the songs I thought he was gonna pick. But I was like,
Mhm.
wow, talk about deep Easter eggs. I mean, I had to go back and refresh myself on No No No. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God, crazy. But yeah, it all started from there. Actually, before he called me, Kent Slusher sent Chris just the drum intro,
Mhm.
a video of it. He said, "Name this song." He goes, "No, no, no. What are you guys doing?" The guy, me and Joe were just doing a video. One of those things you throw up on YouTube. He's like, "You need a singer?" He's like, "Yeah, we do actually, and a bass player." He's like, "I got it." And we're not just throwing it up on YouTube, by the way. So next thing you know, we have a top 25 single with it. We have a video with 100 or 200,000 views. Here we are now, taking it to Pittsburgh on the 29th.
Yeah, man, nice. Talk a little bit too, man. How challenging is it to play some of this 80s Kiss stuff? Because that's like the technical aspect of it. I mean, it's obviously a lot more involved than the early stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
how challenging is it to pull off some of this stuff live?
Um, you know, it's funny that you say that because not many people recognize how, uh, I mean, I would say difficult. It's tricky and it's not what you think, you know.
Mm.
You think Kiss, you just think, yeah, standard rock and roll. But man, once Eric Carr got in the band and Bruce Kulick got in the band, it took on a different shape. And there's things when you go deep into that into those records that I mean a song like No 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 or Love's a Deadly Weapon, which is
Mm.
just I mean there's some hairy things, even from the vocal melodies to forms to turnarounds and stuff. Like I'd be learning it. I'm like, "Oh, what the hell are they doing? Is that a mistake?" And it's so it was really kind of cool, man. It really opened up all of our eyes to just how good and underrated Kiss were back then.
Mm.
Um, Especially singing wise, like Gene was singing his ass off in the 80s. And, he gets a lot of flack because he wasn't quote unquote present a lot in the 80s. But man, when he was there,
Mm.
he was pushing the envelope. But yeah, the whole band, all the stuff. It's really very cool. It keeps us on our toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, how underrated would you say Gene is as a bass player?
I mean, look, it doesn't take much for somebody to leave a mark as a musician, and Gene was for me what I took away why he was such a big inspiration for me was the attitude. I mean, um, wind ups.
Mm.
You know, some people just say it's noise or it's a filler, but that says something. That says more to me than any bass lick, fill, or anything that you could write. When you get a properly placed wind up,
Mm.
like I mean, enough said, you know. So I mean, I took that from him and digested that attitude. And sometimes when you feel it, I mean, it's like an exclamation mark hitting a really brutal wind up. And his with that tone, it just for me, like I said, it was that was his signature and his mark for me personally.
What was it like touring with those guys? Now, you toured with them in Trixter. Was that during the Revenge tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What was that experience like?
I mean, you know, for us, that was when we kind of patted ourselves on the back, going, okay, as children, all we wanted to do was either be Kiss or play with Kiss.
Mm.
And we got that tour, and we're like, we reached the top of the mountain. You know, for us, you know, that 9-year-olds and us, we were just like over the moon. So, you know, getting to watch Kiss every night was and hang out with most of them
Mm.
um, was a very unique experience, and you know, it's something we'll always cherish and feel grateful that we got the opportunity to do that.
Now, Gene and Paul they're both aware of quarantine too. So, what has kind of their reaction been? I know Bruce is as well, and I know he's praised you guys quite a bit. But yeah, what has been sort of the reaction from you know the Kiss camp to quarantine?
Well, it depends on what song. You know, Paul has his opinions on certain songs, um, not necessarily our versions, just the songs in general.
Mm.
Yeah, Chris does a good job of keeping them stocked with our latest creations. And Gene's always very complimentary. And, you know, Paul will send back um, an emoji based on how he feels about the song in general, whether it's a puke emoji or, you know, praising Chris for singing like, you know, Heart of Chrome, which he loved. And
Mm.
you know, he's like, man, if you could sing that song in the original key, you're more man than I. So, I mean, he was, you know, it's just fun. It doesn't matter to us what they say,
Mm.
and just to know they're listening to it and aware of it, and know that they were out there, you know, waving the '80s flag. You know, someone's got to do it. I know Bruce is out there with his band, killing it. They're tremendous at it, and you know, here we are on the other side doing it.
So, what is your top? Give me your top. I say top two, top three non-makeup era Kiss records.
Revenge,
Mm.
um, Crazy Nights, and I'm gonna say, man, you know, Hot in the Shade to me was I think is going to miss the list by this much just because I think it was too long.
Right.
Had it
Yeah.
been had it been a 9-song record, it would have been awesome. I think they pushed the envelope on that one. I think we might have to go Asylum.
I've got a lot of for me it's got to be Asylum. I think Asylum, Crazy Nights, then Revenge, probably in that order. Just because that mid '80s period, man, with Asylum and Crazy Nights, there's some just bangers on both of those records. Um,
Yeah, and I would say Asylum kind of rose to the top later on because those were tough years visually for the
mhm,
band, you know.
right.
So I kind of tuned out a little bit, even though I listened to the record, but I just wasn't as fanatical at that point, and wasn't until later when I really circled back and just said, "Wow, good stuff on this."
Are there some I mean, you guys obviously, you know, doing No 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 and Heart of Chrome, you guys are digging into some deep cuts even deep cuts from the non-makeup era. Are there any other kind of deep cuts in the catalog, or any ones you're looking to record, or stuff that you can kind of divulge that you're going to be playing for this little run of shows?
All I can divulge is that yes, there are more deep cuts to be recorded. We
Mhm.
only do deep cuts. We're only doing the ones that make you go, "Really? You're gonna do that?" Like when we told people we're doing No No No, even the most, you know, uh, crazy Kiss fans were like, "Really? Oh man, wow!" And they're like, once they heard the version, you know, it kind of took on a breath of fresh air, a new life.
Mhm. What do you think it is about Kiss? Because I think outside of maybe the Beatles, I think Kiss is probably the most dissected band from era to era and album to album, and with all they do. But what do you think it is about Kiss that kind of makes them so sort of polarizing and just that gets people kind of so kind of fanatical about just different eras and different albums. I mean, it's like I said, the Beatles is the only band I can think of that gets maybe more, it gets more dissected than Kiss.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Chris were doing a podcast or something not too long ago, and he mentioned something about, and I feel the same way. I've always said Kiss came up in a time when it was like Kiss, Star Wars, and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Back in that time, we didn't have the distractions that we have today. So something as big as Kiss came along, and like Star Wars and wrestling, those three things, if you were a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
you were busy and you were hyper focused on those three things. And I just think that I put it this way: had Kiss come out now, would they have bred such, a, a loyal following? What I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if anyone could really do that these days. But at that time, we were all in and invested and in for life, and Kiss kept producing and kept us on the hook and kept us on the hook. And, you know, it was just a way of life for us. And I think even the new generations that are into Kiss now and fanatical, it's passed down by generation. It
Mm-hmm.
just is, Like if somebody, well, my dad got me into Kiss and I'm just such a huge fanatic. It's in the blood. I mean, it's in their DNA at that point. So nothing you can do about it. If you're a Kiss fan, you're going to be, uh, pretty heavy into it.
What's your kind of take on, so there's a couple songs that came out on that on Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, which Let's Put the X in Sex and You Make Me Rock Hard. Those kind of get lost a little bit even in the non-makeup era. I guess Let's Put the X in Sex doesn't necessarily get lost because I've heard on Sirius and Ozzy's Boneyard and Hair Nation and stuff here from time to time.
Well, yeah, it was a video too, so it was right. That's what
Yeah.
the that was a video. So I mean, that had a lot of exposure.
But as far as like, yeah, what's kind of your take on those two songs? I know Paul is sort of he kind of dismissed X and Sex as sort of their um was it Robert Palmer Addicted to Love ripoff, and you got
Yeah,
to hear that's exactly what they were going for with the synths and everything
yeah.
else too. But I still have a big soft there's definitely a soft spot for me for that song for sure, because that was actually
Yeah,
the
I mean,
stuff I bought was the Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. As a, that was the first thing I ever got. Kiss was like, so it's the first, like
oh
putting
wow.
I think it was the cassette at the time, and I'm like, this is the first, the first thing I heard. So
Oh wow, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I thought for that time period when that record came out, those songs kind of fit it and made sense to me. I mean, I don't mind Let's Put the X in Sex. It is what it is,
mm,
and it didn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. It's catchy. I don't have a problem with it. You Make Me Rock Hard is, you know,
yeah, it was kind of
eh.
that one's sort of okay. But are there any tracks that kind of especially obviously from the non-makeup era too, that you guys haven't done that you maybe have on your radar, or even just ones that really kind of stand out to you as some of your favorites?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we could keep doing this and recording hidden gems forever. Um, we have one of them almost in the can now. Um, and yeah, there's a list. I have a whole list of them
Mm-mm.
that we've yet to get to. So, but
Yeah,
we like to keep the mystique built a little bit.
I also heard Chris talking about about possibly having without giving too much away the live show, about possibly having a plant in the audience throwing up bras so you guys can put them on the thing, because Kiss used to do that back in the day.
Well, he says plan, but I don't remember hiring anyone.
That's
But we'll see.
I mean, if that's the if you guys end up doing that, that's brilliant. And like when I heard him say that, I'm like, man, I should have thought of that, or. But yeah,
Put it
that's
this way.
awesome.
We are bringing the fun, tongue-in-cheek, the attitude portion of Kiss to the stage. I mean, this band and what we're doing is, I mean, everyone's top notch as a musician.
Mm,
But as a band collectively, this will be the second time we've all played together. And
mm.
playing these songs, we're not rehearsed. We're not a well-oiled machine. There are moments we get up there and we go, fingers crossed, it's in God's hands now. Let's go, boom. And so we know musically it's gonna be great. We're gonna have a fun time, but it's just as important to us to bring the spirit of Kiss and just have fun. It's a rock and roll show. We're
Mm,
not there to just play um, serious and uh, we're not tricking ourselves into thinking people are sitting there with their arms folded, waiting for musical proficiency and nothing else. It's a
mm.
Kiss tribute band. It's like we're gonna have some fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys been able to get together and rehearse for? I mean, you guys are as busy as you all are, and all the offshoots. I mean, is this going to be like get together week of and or get together and kind of try to put it all together, a couple rehearsals, and let's go?
So here's what we've done so far. Our first show was when Jericho cruised 2 years ago.
Mm,
The night before that cruise, we got together um, with Charlie in the playing guitar because Joe didn't even do the cruise. So that was the first time we played together was with a different guitar player.
mm,
Then we did the cruise. Then we played Chris's birthday party, or vice versa. I don't know. We did not rehearse, and months went by, maybe even a year. We did the next Jericho cruise, where the night before we got together
mm.
with Joe, Charlie, myself, Chris, and Joey Casada on drums because Kent couldn't do it. He was out with Luke Bryan. So we ran the set once the night before.
Mm.
And then Creatures Fest, when we played, was the first time we were all in a room together as a full band. And we ran the set once. And then we played Creature Fest. And that's all we've had. And that's all we're going to have going into Pittsburgh. So, as I like to say, it's in God's hands. But I think we're all, very familiar with the songs by this point, and we'll be prepared.
Nice, man. No, I mean, I can't. Like I said, I can't wait to hear it. I'm sure that's going to be yeah, an absolute blast that night. How kind of cool is it for you guys too? I mean, you're all involved in different projects. I know Fozzy's probably the busiest of all the sort of the touring things that you guys are kind of involved in. And I know you're out. I guess I saw you with Steve doing the Trixter acoustic thing recently in Akron and stuff, which
Mhm.
is great. But how kind of cool is it for you guys to like kind of break stuff up with stuff like this? You know what I mean? Like, is it kind of like you don't get kind of stuck in the same thing? Because I've toured in the past before, and you're playing the same set and the same stuff, and it can get kind of like from a musical standpoint, it can get kind of samey after a little bit. But how much does this sort
Right.
of refresh the engines for kind of everything else?
Oh, I mean, 100%. I kind of thrive on playing with different people and different bands. That's why everyone says, "Oh, I'm in a million bands."
Mm,
Well, first of all, it's basically out of necessity because as a musician, and that's all I do, I have to, keep myself busy and keep a paycheck coming in. And,
mm,
you know, um, being in one band these days just doesn't do it anymore. So, the big record deals don't exist. The big merchandising advances don't exist. So you got to get out there and play live, and, sing for your supper.
mm,
So, but it just so happens to be that I love to play with different people and different bands, different genres of music. It keeps me alive. It keeps me focused, and makes me a better player, and just keeps me on my toes. I mean, like you said, being in one band and being hyper focused in one band is amazing. There's a beauty to that, but sometimes you can get stale. You can get a little bit in the rut. So doing something like this definitely, especially when we squeeze it in when we do, it's
mm.
borderline nerve wracking. Uh, but we, I think we all enjoy it a lot, just having that, waiting for us
Mm.
and know that we can do it kind of whenever we get a little window of time. Like these shows came up, we have um, June 29th in Pittsburgh, and we have June 30th in Columbus at King of Clubs, and July 1st at JD Legends in Franklin, Ohio. And that magically happened. Like that was the only window all five of us had
Mm.
to be able to play. And that's it for the rest of the year.
Mm.
The window is closed. There are no more shows. So, I mean, we're gonna have fun with it. We're looking forward to it. And we hope, next year we can do another block. So we'll see. But I mean, yeah, we are very busy with other things, but it definitely keeps everything fresh from a musician standpoint.
Yeah, I think you just answered my next question. I was going to ask if there was anything else possibly, kind of down the line in the future, but I'm sure that's going to be sort of TBA with everybody's schedules
Yeah.
and when you're able to do it. But I mean, it sounds like everybody would like to do it again at some point,
Yeah.
whenever all the stars align.
Yeah, absolutely.